Welcome to today's show. Before we get started, let me implore you to please click that subscribe/follow button wherever you get your podcasts. If you're enjoying the show, please spread the word. I'm a bit shy and a bit busy and could use a marketing team out there on my side like all of you. I'm grateful you've tuned in today. Also, please visit the website at secondlookcinema.net where you can access transcripts of each episode, even submit an idea for a film to cover in a future episode. Now, on to the show. When a nosy wheelchair-bound photographer, Jimmy Stewart, gets bored of staring at his own four walls, he decides to invade the privacy of his neighbors with a camera and some serious binocular skills. What starts as casual people watching quickly turns into a murder mystery when he suspects one of his neighbors offed his wife. But is he a brilliant detective or just a paranoid peeping Tom? With the help of his impossibly glamorous girlfriend, played by Grace Kelly, and a no-nonsense nurse who delivers sass on demand, he embarks on a mission to prove the crime without getting himself killed in the process. Alfred Hitchcock turns voyeurism into high art in the suspenseful classic, proving that if you stare at people long enough, you're bound to see something you wish you hadn't. And now for 5 fast facts behind the making of Rear Window. Fact 1. The entire apartment complex was one giant set. Instead of filming on location, Hitchcock had Paramount build an enormous, fully functional apartment complex on a soundstage. It was so massive that they had to dig into the studio floor to fit the whole thing. Jeff's apartment was actually on ground level, while the courtyard and surrounding buildings extended up several stories. Fact 2. Grace Kelly was dressed by a legendary designer. The stunning outfits worn by Grace Kelly were designed by Edith Head, one of Hollywood's most famous costume designers. Her wardrobe was deliberately chosen to reflect her character's high society lifestyle, right down to that iconic black and white dress in her very first scene. Fact 3. Hitchcock's signature cameo is easy to miss. The director makes his usual appearance about 25 minutes into the film, winding a clock in the songwriter's apartment. If you blink, you might miss it. Fact 4. Jimmy Stewart was older than his character. At 46, Stewart was actually a bit older than the role that was written for him, which is part of why Hitchcock included the subplot about his character's dodging marriage. It made him seem more believably commitment-phobic. Fact 5. The actors in the other apartments had to stay in character. Since Hitchcock preferred long takes and wide shots, many of the actors playing the neighbors had to silently go about their business in the background for extended periods of time, even when they weren't the focus. Some even had full conversations and backstories that never made it into the final film. One of the very first courses I took in my academic journey into film studies was one on Alfred Hitchcock. The rotund purveyor of the mildly perverse but intentionally thrilling, Hitchcock was a master at visual storytelling, and made for one heck of a cameo appearance as well. Forget Where's Waldo, more like Here's Hitch. While being introduced to most all of the auteur's masterworks during that summer crash course in college, Rear Window was one out of all of the many I saw that stuck with me long after viewing it. Sure, Psycho, The Birds, North by Northwest are stunning. Every film Hitchcock did had something to appreciate and admire. But there was something about Rear Window that made it my favorite. Maybe it hit a little too close to home with how, being a kid stuck in his room sick a lot, I would often look out my window at the neighborhood and let my imagination run wild. The idea that I might one day see something I couldn't unsee never occurred to me until I saw this film. Look, let's get something out of the way here. If you take out the story, the mystery, the sassy nurse, and the always affable Jimmy Stewart, you'd still always have the truly stunning Grace Kelly. That's all you really need. But Hitch gives us so much more here, and I love every minute of it. Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window from 1954 is more than just a thrilling murder mystery. It's a fascinating exploration of voyeurism, curiosity, and our innate desire to observe others. The film follows L.B. Jeffries, a photographer confined to his apartment due to a broken leg, who becomes obsessed with watching his neighbors through their windows. As his innocent people watching turns into a full-fledged investigation of a possible murder, the film forces viewers to confront an uncomfortable truth. We are all, to some extent, voyeurs. The compulsion to watch others, especially through the windows of our homes, is a deeply ingrained human behavior. Whether it's a passing glance at a neighbor's yard, a curiosity about the lives unfolding behind lit curtains, or even the modern equivalent of social media stalking, Rear Window taps into a universal tendency to observe the world around us. The film's lasting relevance lies in its ability to make audiences question the ethics of watching, the blurred lines between curiosity and intrusion, and the reasons why we feel compelled to look in the first place. Human beings are naturally curious. It's about perspective and observations as survival mechanisms. We watch to gather information, assess threats, and understand social dynamics. In Rear Window, Jeff's surveillance starts as a way to entertain himself while immobilized, but his boredom soon turns into something more obsessive. His need to watch becomes compulsive as he begins to interpret the fragments of his neighbors' lives and construct narratives around them. This mirrors how people behave in their own communities. Many of us engage in casual neighborhood surveillance, whether through an apartment peephole, a front porch, or a strategically angled curtain. There's an undeniable appeal in seeing what others are up to, even if we don't know them personally. Often this observation is harmless, simply an extension of our desire to be aware of our surroundings. However, as Rear Window demonstrates, the act of watching can shift from innocent curiosity to an almost obsessive need to piece together other people's private lives. Hitchcock expertly plays the ethical dilemmas of voyeurism in Rear Window. Jeff may justify his spying by claiming that he's just passing the time, but as he becomes more invested in the lives of his neighbors, especially when he suspects that Lars Thorwald has murdered his wife, he crosses an ethical boundary. His actions turn from passive observation to active interference as he recruits his girlfriend Lisa and his nurse Stella to help him investigate. The film forces the audience to question, when does watching become inappropriate? Is it ever justifiable to spy on someone if we suspect wrongdoing? These same questions arise in real life. Many people feel entitled to watch their neighbors under the guise of community awareness or safety. Neighborhood watch groups, security cameras, and even casual gossip all stem from the instinct to monitor others. Sometimes this surveillance serves a legitimate purpose, such as identifying crime or ensuring public safety. However, Rear Window suggests that our reasons for watching are not always so noble. There's a thin line between vigilance and voyeurism, and often our motivation is simply curiosity rather than concern. While Rear Window depicts physical surveillance, its themes are strikingly relevant in the digital age. Today's social media has become our collective rear window. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok allow people to peer into the lives of others, often without their direct knowledge. Just as Jeff pieces together a narrative based on glimpses into his neighbors' apartments, modern users construct stories about others based on curated social media posts. This digital voyeurism raises the same ethical concerns as Jeff's spying. While people willingly share aspects of their lives online, viewers often consume this content with a level of scrutiny that borders on intrusive. Online stalking, privacy invasions, and even public shaming are all byproducts of this compulsion to watch. Hitchcock's film serves as a warning about the consequences of unchecked observation, whether through a camera lens or a smartphone screen. Rear Window is a film about the universal tendency to observe others. Hitchcock transforms a simple act, looking out the window, into a tense psychological drama that forces audiences to reflect on their own habits. Why do we watch? When does watching become invasive? And what are the consequences of seeing something we weren't meant to see? These questions remain just as relevant today as they were in 1954. Whether we're peeking out of our blinds to see what the neighbors are doing or scrolling through an acquaintance's online photos, the impulse to observe is deeply embedded in human nature. Rear Window reminds us that while watching can be entertaining, informative, and even useful, it also carries ethical responsibilities. After all, when you spend too much time looking into someone else's life, you may find yourself seeing things you wish you hadn't. Lest we forget how important it is to mind our own business, here are two real-life examples of people snooping a bit too much. The case of Larry Joe Vandiver, Texas, 2012. Larry Joe Vandiver, a Texas man, was sentenced to 99 years in prison after a disturbing case of neighbor surveillance. Vandiver had a long history of spying on his neighbors using hidden cameras and peeping into their homes. His obsession escalated when he broke into a neighbor's house to install recording devices. Eventually, one of the victims caught on to his activities and reported him to the police. Investigators found extensive evidence of illegal surveillance, leading to his conviction for burglary with intent to commit another felony. His case serves as a stark reminder that excessive curiosity about neighbors can quickly spiral into criminal activity. The German balcony spy case from 2013. In 2013, a man in Munich, Germany was fined for repeatedly spying on his neighbors with a high-powered telescope from his balcony. He kept detailed notes about their daily activities, including when they left for work and returned home. Neighbors became suspicious when they noticed him watching them for hours at a time. One of them set a trap by making exaggerated movements in front of their window, which the spy recorded. When police got involved, they found the man's logs and telescope, leading to charges of invasion of privacy. He was fined thousands of euros and banned from using surveillance equipment. Both cases highlight how an innocent curiosity about our neighbors can quickly cross legal and ethical boundaries, leading to serious consequences. On another episode, I'll have to dig into another one of my all-time favorite films, The Burbs, which is another cautionary tale about neighborhoods and voyeurism, but in a way only the great Joe Dante can do it. But for now, kick off your shoes, make yourself an indoor picnic, preferably on a cool summer's day with the windows down, and let the breeze hit you while you immerse yourself in the landscape of apartments in Rear Window. If the spirit of Grace Kelly stops by, please invite her to sit for a spell. Thank you for listening today. As always, watch films deeper, listen closer, and search for a deeper meaning than what's on the surface. I'll see you next time.